Hi everyone, welcome to Talk Easy. Today, Catherine and Mike will talk about time-related idioms like time flies, kill time, and in the nick of time. Learn how to use these phrases to spice up conversations about schedules and deadlines. Let's jump right in.
Ever feel like time just, I don't know, has a mind of its own?
Yeah.
Like 1 minute you're setting that New Year's resolution.
Oh, yeah?
And bam, suddenly you're already
Oh, tell me about it.
stressing about holiday shopping again.
It really does.
It's like we're all, chasing this clock
Yeah.
all the time, aren't we?
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
How time is this, like, universal experience, but we all kind of grapple with it in our own,
Yeah.
really individual ways.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though it can feel
Right.
so abstract, we're like always trying to put it into words,
Exactly.
deadlines and schedules and, making the most of it.
Yeah.
It's all about like trying to capture this slippery concept.
I think that's where idioms come in, don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Like, they go beyond just the literal definition, right? And add this kind of a layer of color to how we talk about time.
For sure. So today we're
Yeah.
doing a deep dive into some of the common time-related idioms.
Cool.
And this isn't just about like expanding your vocabulary or something.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, what I find really interesting is like
Yeah.
how these phrases can reveal, something deeper
Yeah.
about our relationship with time
Mm.
individually, but also as like a culture.
Oh, I like that. It's
Yeah.
a little window into how we perceive this thing that we can't even like
Yeah, exactly.
touch,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So should we kick things off with a classic?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. That
We've all,
perfect time.
felt that one at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling when you're catching up with
Right.
with old friends and then suddenly like it's 3:00 a.m. and you're
Yeah.
like, where'd the night go?
How did that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
That feeling of just like being so completely absorbed in something and time just
Yeah.
seems to vanish.
Yeah, it's interesting though, right?
Yeah.
Because it suggests that time only flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
What about like when you're stuck in a boring meeting and it feels like
Oh my gosh.
every second is
An eternity.
an eternity? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So maybe it's more about like
Yeah.
our perception of time rather than like the actual speed of time.
Right. Yeah.
So when we're really engaged and
Yeah.
enjoying ourselves, we're just less focused on the clock.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of trying to manipulate time, like,
Yeah.
what about kill time?
Oh, yes.
That one's like ingrained in
That's
our,
like part of our vocabulary now, isn't it?
oh, I'm the queen of killing time
Yeah.
at airports, like books, podcasts, people watching anything
Oh, yeah.
to make that delay like a little
Sure.
less painful.
Uh-huh.
But it's a loaded phrase, right?
Yeah.
Like kill time.
It does sound a bit aggressive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like we're at war
Yeah.
with those empty moments.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to like
Mhm.
our cultural anxieties around like productivity.
Yeah.
We're always told like make every moment count.
Uh-huh.
Optimize your schedule. Be on all the time.
Beyond, yeah. Like
Yeah.
this constant pressure to be
Right.
doing something
Yeah.
productive. But isn't there value in like
Yeah.
those moments where we're not like actively striving?
Yeah. And that's where kill time can be a little,
Right.
a little misleading, I think,
Yeah.
because some cultures, I think they really value that empty time,
Yeah.
for reflection or, even just
Yeah.
being present.
Yeah. So maybe it's less about killing time
Right.
and more about like choosing how we want to spend it.
Yeah,
Gets to
exactly.
comfort
It's
my
about
head.
like reclaiming those moments
Yeah.
and saying, you know what? They have value even if they don't
Right.
fit into this traditional idea
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
productivity.
Yeah. So we've got like time flies and kill time. These
Okay.
two kind of very different ways
Yeah.
of experiencing, I guess,
Yeah.
the same thing. What about
Yeah.
when time seems to be like
Like-
in constant motion,
Okay.
like around the clock?
Around the clock.
Yeah.
That comes to mind.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like those 247 services that we rely on.
Like hospitals and emergency responders and,
yeah.
even those all-night diners that are
Sure.
always buzzing.
Yes.
I love those places. They're like little time capsules,
Right.
always open, always.
Always there. Serving up comfort food.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what's happening in the
Exactly.
world outside.
It's like a little world unto itself.
Totally. But it's not just about like
Right.
places that never close, right?
No.
It feels like it's become this symbol of
Yeah.
like modern, always on lifestyle.
The 24/7 news cycle,
Yeah.
and, the constant social media updates,
Right.
and that feeling of like needing to be available
Yeah.
at all hours.
It really has.
Yeah.
And that visual of like the clock, constantly cycling
Yeah.
through the hours. It's like this unstoppable force, right?
It really captures that like relentless pace.
Yes, totally. And speaking of unstoppable, what about those like moments where things come down to the wire, the in the nick of time.
In the nick of time,
Scenarios.
Those last minute escapes, those deadlines met with like, seconds to spare.
Yeah.
Where timing really is everything.
And I never really thought about like the actual nick in that phrase,
Interesting.
Like that tiny cut right at the last moment. It's a
vivid image.
Vivid image, yeah. And I think that's what makes like idioms so powerful, They take these abstract concepts like time and they give them a tangible, like a story we can relate to.
It gives them a form.
Yeah, so we've got like the thrill of time flies and the anxiety of kill time, the constant motion of around the clock, and then this heart-stopping, precision of in the nick of time.
Yeah, it's amazing how...
And it's like, it blows my mind that these simple phrases are actually packed with like cultural and psychological
aren't they?
Insights.
They're not just figures of speech.
Yeah.
They really are a reflection of how we experience and understand time.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Exactly.
I can't wait to like dive deeper into the fascinating origins and meanings behind these idioms. But for now, we're going to take a little break and then come back to explore how you can actually use these phrases to spice up your everyday conversations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, so we've kind of, like unpacked these deeper meanings behind these time idioms, but let's get practical for a second.
Okay.
How can you actually use these?
Yeah.
In your everyday conversations?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to like know what they mean.
Yeah.
But using them naturally, like without sounding like you're reading from a textbook or something, it's tough.
That's the real challenge.
Yeah.
So let's paint a few pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine you're chatting with a friend about a recent vacation.
Okay, let's say we went on like that whirlwind European adventure we've been dreaming of, like hitting all the major cities in like 10 days.
Okay. Sounds exhausting, but fun.
Oh, totally. Like packed in so much museums and historical sites and amazing food. I swear we barely slept a wink.
So tell me, how was it trying to fit everything in?
It was a blur. Honestly, it felt like we blinked and the trip was over, Right. Like, I guess that's what they mean when they say time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. Just, you seamlessly wove that idiom into your story.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so much more engaging than just like, say, the trip went by quickly.
For sure. It's all about finding those natural moments to sprinkle in those sessions.
Okay. New scenario.
Okay.
We're stuck at the train station.
No.
And the train's been delayed for who knows how long.
I can already feel the boredom creeping in.
So what do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
I mean, we could grab a coffee. We could maybe browse that little bookstore over there. Or we could just train stations are
They're the best for that.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a million ways to like make the time pass a little.
A master at killing time.
Faster. Yeah.
And you didn't even have to say it.
Right. Exactly. It's all about...
It was just implied.
The context, yeah.
Right.
Finding those...
And I think those like creative ways to make those like less than ideal situations a little more bearable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, new scene. It's 2:00 a.m.
Okay.
We're both hit with a sudden craving for pancakes.
Pancakes at 2:00 a.m.
Wait.
What do we do? I mean, now you're talking. But
Yeah.
where are we going to find pancakes at this hour?
Well, luckily there's this great little diner like a few blocks from my place. And the best part, it's open 24/7 around the clock.
Nice.
You know, they've got this incredible menu and the coffee is always hot.
They're a lifesaver.
You know, it's like those around the clock places. They're like
They really are.
beacons in the night, you know?
Yeah.
Always there.
Always there when you need them.
When you need them, yeah.
It's like a little...
It's like a little slice of life that never sleeps.
That never sleeps.
Yeah.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, one last scenario. Okay.
Remember that like massive project we were both stressing about?
Yeah.
The one with that impossible deadline?
How could I forget? I was pulling all-nighters.
Oh, me too.
For weeks.
But I managed to get it all done just in the nick of time.
Oh, wow. Talk about cutting it close.
I swear I hit send on that email with like seconds to spare.
I bet you were sweating bullets.
Oh, absolutely. It was a mad dash to the finish line.
Yeah.
But, you know,
yeah.
There's something kind of exhilarating about those.
I don't know, minute scrambles.
There's a certain satisfaction in, like, pulling it off.
The adrenaline, the focus.
Against all odds.
Yeah, the relief.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Real life examples of how to use those time idioms in conversation.
And the beauty of it is, like, you probably already use these phrases. You
probably do.
Don't even realize it.
Yeah, but now you've got, like, a deeper understanding of their meanings and where they came from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and speaking of where they came from.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's time to, like, delve into the fascinating history.
Yeah, let's do it.
Behind these idioms.
Because they didn't just appear out of thin air, did they?
Definitely not. There's, like, centuries of linguistic evolution woven into these seemingly simple expressions.
Exactly. And I think that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, because understanding where these idioms came from, it's like it can shed light on how our relationship with time has changed over time.
Yeah.
It's like we're time travelers ourselves.
Totally.
Exploring the linguistic footprints of those who came before us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Are you ready to jump back in time?
Lead the way. I'm all ears. All right. So let's rewind for a second. Go back to Time Flies When You're Having Fun. We talked about, like...
its origins in, like, the 1500s.
Yeah.
That comparison to, like, a bird in flight.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is, like, that idea of time being, you know, fleeting, like, impossible to grasp.
Right.
It's not, you know, just a Western concept.
Interesting.
You see similar, like, metaphors in cultures all over the world.
So it's not just that we're, like, impatient or obsessed with productivity. There's
something deeper.
Something deeper, yeah.
Yeah, I think it speaks to that, like, universal awareness of time's passage.
Yes.
You know, that kind of bittersweet feeling of moments slipping away.
Yeah, totally.
Whether we're, you know, enjoying them or not.
It's like this, like, shared human story woven into the fabric of our language.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's move on to kill time.
Okay.
We touched on those possible military origins, like, you know, with the soldiers.
Yeah, the soldiers finding ways to
cope with those, like long stretches of...
the waiting.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, did they feel that same...
Good question.
Pressure to be, like, productive that we do today?
Right.
Or was there, like, more of an acceptance of those idle moments?
It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, maybe back then killing time wasn't seen as a negative thing, but like a necessary part of life.
Like you had to wait for the right moment to strike, to, you know, to let crops, to travel.
It challenges our modern notion.
It does.
Time as something to be, like, maximized.
Yeah, maybe those periods of waiting and simply being were actually, you know, opportunities for, you know, for observation, for contemplation, for connecting with something, you know, larger than themselves.
It's like we've lost that ability to just be
present.
To
embrace those moments of stillness, perhaps, and maybe that's why, you know, kill time has taken on this kind of, aggressive connotation.
Yeah, it reflects our anxieties around
our need to fill every second with something, meaningful.
Yeah, which brings us to around the clock.
Okay.
This idiom that feels very much rooted in our modern...
Very modern 24-hour news cycle, the constant, stream of information.
Yes.
The blurring of work and leisure time. It's all part of that mentality.
And it's not just about staying busy. It's
this expectation of instant gratification and being available and connected at all hours.
At all hours. It's we've internalized that constant motion of the clock, that never-ending cycle
of activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
It can be.
When do we get to step off the merry-go-round?
It's a good question.
Right.
And I think it speaks to the importance of setting boundaries, carving out those spaces for stillness and reflection, even amidst, all the chaos.
Okay, last but not least.
Okay.
In the nick of time.
In the nick of time, yeah.
This one always makes me think of
oh yeah,
those classic action movie scenes.
Your hero defusing the bomb with seconds to spare.
The last minute escape.
Or
from the collapsing building.
The collapsing building.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
No, but
heart-stopping tension.
Yeah.
That razor thin margin between success and failure.
And that image of the nick, that tiny cut, it's just so...
It's a perfect metaphor, isn't it?
It is.
It really highlights the power of timing.
Yes.
And how, even a fraction of a second can just make all the difference.
So I guess, what have we learned from this?
Yeah, what have we learned?
Deep dive into time-related idioms. I mean, we uncovered, their hidden meanings,
their historical roots,
and how they even
and how they reflect our
our evolving relationship with this crazy concept we call time,
with this elusive thing we call time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and hopefully you've gained a deeper appreciation for the power of language to shape our perceptions and to make the abstract tangible and to connect us to that
the shared human experience. Oh, it's like we've cracked open a secret code,
to live a bit,
revealing the stories hidden in these everyday phrases. Yeah. And here's a final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
As you go about your week, pay attention to how you talk about time.
Yeah.
Notice the idioms
the metaphors you use.
And ask yourself, what do these expressions reveal about your own relationship,
about your own
time?
Yeah, are you constantly chasing the clock?
Yeah.
Or are you finding those moments to just be?
Just be.
It's a fascinating journey of self-discovery.
Totally.
And I encourage you to embrace it.